What's up? We got Patrick Pixley joining us today.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
How are you?
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think we've been talking about this for a minute.
Yeah, and since you got the renovation done of the studio here, I'm glad to be here.
Which, like any construction, it sounds like you just went through construction on your personal house. It takes longer than you think. So this has been kind of like a birth child and a vision that couldn't come fast enough. So I feel like this has been like 12 months, and then like in the last 2-3 days, had a couple interviews, and it's really cool to kind of be in the studio.
Right, get it all put together finally. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I wanted to intro you. Just obviously, realtor extraordinaire, Mainframe Real Estate.
Yep.
Landed at that brokerage, and I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of your backstory. Even you and I playing golf or grabbing a beer and catching up, I don't even think I know the context of your whole story.
Right.
And kind of how you got into real estate. And so just give us some high points of where you are now, what you're doing now, and then why real estate, man?
Yeah, so I started roughly about 7-8 years ago. Started out, my mom actually has been doing real estate for 30 years in Lake County, and she had a couple offices in Daytona for a while. So she kind of, I guess, number one reason, saw her do it. She's been very successful at it with her real estate career. She now runs a Weichert office in Mount Dora and kind of managing, but also still does sales herself.
What's your mom's name?
Betty Hensinger.
Nice.
Yeah, so
okay.
she's a rock star when it comes to the
she's
real
a
estate
name
stuff.
to look out for. Okay.
Yeah. So started seeing her do it. My older brother Chris did it for a while. He got into about 2009. When I got done with school, I tried to do I don't want to follow in the same footsteps and do something different. Started doing cell phone sales for Verizon. Hated that, and then finally just got my real estate license and went and worked for Fuchsia Realty Group with my brother, and then just about almost a year now left Fuchsia, went to Mainframe. A lot of different moving parts, but was able to now start a team of my own. So I have 4 people underneath me, which has been awesome. Kind of a new chapter of that. It's a whole new aspect of it. The teaching side of real estate is, I guess, is new to me. I think I'm getting it pretty good, but it's definitely a lot of learning still going with that, trying to teach different skills to new people and everything. And then obviously just with Mainframe themselves, John and Sean have been awesome. I mean, they just have tons of cool technology and just aspects of real estate that a lot of people don't have that they've implemented and allowed us to use, which has been awesome.
Yeah, I love the Mainframe brand too. That little office space downtown, is it still
so
up by Credo Coffee?
Yeah, well, it's on Orange Avenue. They actually just did a full renovation of the office. It's the same thing they're kind of doing you're doing, but really cool. They made it more of an open concept. Before they had a couple smaller offices for everybody. Now it's just kind of one big common area room with some niche rooms for everybody. Since not many people are using offices that much, it's more of a if we all get together, we all have one space to hang out in and whatnot. So it's been nice.
It's a sweet spot. I remember when I went by maybe a few years ago, just incredible art. The design was beautiful.
it's even crazier now. So.
I got to get by.
Yeah.
Well, so and I want to ask you about building a team because the education side of real estate, similar in our industry in a way where a lot of the team members we've recruited over the years or have come join the mission, it's just like they didn't know anything about insurance, or in your case, I don't know if who's on your team had extensive real estate background or didn't. It's kind of interesting is that, have you found that now you've learned the business, your mom was in it, your brother's in it, you probably absorbed a lot from osmosis, probably thinking okay, now I have to actually train this stuff that I just kind of maybe knew secondhand. What's that experience?
Yeah,
like?
so that's a good point. And so my wife Aubrey got her real estate license, started doing a little bit, and she does my transaction coordination stuff now. And in the beginning, when she was getting it, when I would go to or she'd ask me about something, to me it'd be I already knew all this. Yeah. So it was. Unfortunately, she was kind of the first guinea pig of my teaching career, and it probably didn't go as planned.
How do you not know this?
Yeah, so so I've taken more of a step back and kind of putting myself in their shoes. Yeah, because of the 4 people I have now, A lot of them, for the most part, are just starting out.
Sure.
So they do have the first time real estate questions, and it's definitely been a different change of pace. But again, with mainframe and the software and stuff they have, they make it so simple. A lot of like the basics of contracts and all that kind of stuff, and they're catching on pretty well. And one big thing that I've noticed too. I mean, I started out when going through college and after college and bartending and service industry. Majority of them also did that or still do that in some aspect, and I feel like you almost kind of need that in real estate. You deal with a lot of situations that you kind of have to take a deep breath and sit back and assess the situation. And you deal with some different people on every day, every different transaction, and it's fun seeing that kind of transition from a service industry position to real estate. It definitely kind of correlates pretty well.
Dude, that's cool because we are the same way. Yep. I mean, a lot of our key people over the years have come from hospitality, that front of the house service, dealing with people that are upset sometimes, and etiquette and the things that come with working at a fast pace, working as a unit, whether you're bartending, you're serving, or whatever it may be, high stress situations.
Right, exactly.
And it's kind of something like, obviously mutual friend that I think you grew up with, Matt Ekberg. He was our first number one hire, and he was coming from Bonefish and hospitality background, and then all of a sudden it felt like half of the Bonefish restaurant worked young, and they've all been great fits. So what's the most, coming from that background in that service industry, what's the most challenging and different part about making that transition to real estate, and what do you think was the easiest as far as for you, and then like how you see your team making that transition too?
I think the biggest contribution to it is the service industry is different hours. So, I mean, starting out in real estate, a lot of people think that you're just going to jump in it and it's just going to be 100 miles an hour and you're just going to start making commission checks. And that's not the case. I mean, it is nice that, with these people that are still doing the bartending thing, they can work on a, Thursday, Friday night and still have time, Monday through Friday during the day to get, the real estate stuff done, but they're still making an income, which is good. People, it's again, a lot of people get that first real estate check and they're like, well, I don't need this anymore. So I've kind of told them, like, get to yourself where you're consistently doing well in real estate and keep that. I mean, because again, and when I first started out still doing the bartending and real estate, I sold a good amount of houses to random people that walked in the bar too. So
is that right?
You still do have, you're still networking. I mean,
you got the regulars, you get to know.
Yeah, the ice-breaking conversation of talking. I mean, you're having conversation with those people sitting at your bar anyways. Yeah. So you kind of start having that conversation, and I think a lot of their clients right now are people they've met in the bar or friends, in that industry kind of thing. So it's a good segue, I'd say, that people, do have. And I think, the biggest, what was the other question?
Well, I just think I want to follow up on that. Yep. Like, the key to the beginning sometimes is to just, like, avoid starving.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Just make it past 3 months. Make it past 6 months. Be here a year from now.
Yep.
And I do think that having some sort of supplemented income, and then another thing about bartending or service industry, like we have the phrase go play in traffic, right?
Yep.
Go just mingle around people, work through networks, and sometimes you don't even know what you're doing, but you're just playing in traffic.
Right.
And so I look at that and be like, when you're bartending, you're serving, you're just playing in traffic. You're doing what you're doing, but you'll meet somebody that knows somebody. The next thing you know, you're under contract, and you go, okay, there's a little momentum.
Yep.
Let me build from there.
Exactly.
So,
and then seemingly it kind of, when it rains, it pours. And then even when I first started, I had like 3 or 4 deals that got done, and I quit bartending. And then, after those got done, I was like, well,
hey bro, I need to pick up a couple shows.
Yeah, what do I do? What do I do now? Like, because I was like, oh, I'm good to go, which I think, realistically, you probably need a full year of, if you're really starting out hard, you still need probably a full year of just having something on the side just to make sure, obviously, again, you don't want to go starving. So
yeah, that's big. And there's a learning curve too, right? Yeah. So not only do you need to build your pipeline from a marketing standpoint, but you're also learning the industry. I mean, you maybe had a head start because you had some family background and probably grew up with it. But I think for people making that leap, that's a big leap of faith. Absolutely. Another thing I'll ask you too, and I think real estate is the most probably widely known of, like, hey, you're pretty commission only.
Right.
You eat what you kill.
Exactly.
You have some good months. You have some challenging
Absolutely.
months. How have you personally bridged the gap through your career to where you can be at a place where you're building a team? You have stability. Has that always been a challenge? Is that intuitive?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, it's still a challenge, man. I mean, you never know. I mean, some months, right now I have an insane month going, but also too, not all of the deals might close.
Sure.
You have issues with appraisals and inspections, and you just never know until you get to that final signing table if you're actually making money. So the big thing is, you can't just sit there and say like, oh, well, I have $10,000 from that deal. Like, you can't count on that until you get that check.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people, kind of look at that and they, count those, or, count your eggs before they hatch kind of thing. And it's just, it's definitely difficult. I think anybody in real estate for the most part still has a hard time balancing that. But yeah, it's I've gotten to a point now where it's definitely been more consistent and timing out different deals to where it's all not focusing all on maybe 1 month, kind of spreading them out more, hopefully to where it's more consistent, where I have it more steadily coming in.
And probably even if you have deals in the pipeline, stay consistent with your activity.
Right.
Stay consistent with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So how long have you been at real estate full time?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then probably dabbling a few years before that and growing
Yeah,
up.
I mean, I'd say I was, probably a year prior to that, I was doing more trying to do rentals and again, the stepping stones of real estate, starting out on little things and a lot of stuff. My brother was, he was busy with something, so he would send me something kind of on the rental side to help him out. So yeah, I'd say it was seven full years, but yeah, probably 8 with just kind of getting my feet wet.
So one thing, and this is at a distance, so, correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to have done a really good job of staying in touch with people over the years. Like you have relationships. I know 2 guys in our office. Did you guys go to elementary school together and like reconnect? It seems like everyone knows Pat. In my world, I'm like, I'll connect dots and I'll be like, so was that intentional? I know you have a lot of buddies from college. You put on events that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Definitely want to talk about the Loose Moose here.
Yeah.
But where did that come from?
I've always been pretty good at that, and my close friends I think have always mentioned that. I just if I find time and I don't know if it just something clicks in my head that I haven't talked to somebody in a while, I just reach out to them, and it's definitely paid off in my personal life and then also in business. It's just I've always made it a point to stay in contact with the people that mean something to me. So it's definitely paid off for sure.
Yeah, which I struggle with that personally too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the buddies from high school and college that I need to reach out to that I haven't, and not even for the intention of whether business comes from it or not, but just from a network and a quality of life standpoint. Relationships are so important, and I've noticed that about you.
And I think maybe I also might have like a little fear. I don't want them to forget about me, so it's like, hey, I'm still here, kind of thing. But I've been good at that. I definitely would say that's one of my top personal accomplishments. It's hard, but when you think about it, if you call 1 or 2 guys in a week or whatnot, I mean, now we have the group text, so it's pretty easy.
Oh my gosh, man, group text.
Yeah,
like Brett, obviously you know him, older brother. He sent a group text out and he goes, "All right, guys, welcome to another group text." Like that's you need like an assistant to manage group text. That's the amount of group text. That's hilarious, man. So what are you most excited about this year? What is your biggest challenge?
This year, a lot of personal stuff. So selling my first house that Aubrey and I moved into. We closed on that on Monday, under contract on a new house. So pretty excited for that. As far as the team, getting them kind of up and running a little bit more, been trying to spend more money on different lead sources and feed them more to get them kind of more engaged, and seemingly they're getting a little bit busier now, which is fun to see. Again, it's hard. That's the biggest thing for them is getting new clients. So if I can help them out in any way, that obviously helps me. But it's fun seeing them get excited for a deal for themselves. It's very cool. Have a couple new development things going on. Have a townhome project in Claremont with GP Construction and Mark Graff and Paul Gaynor. And then they have another one that we're working on, hopefully to get rolling here in the next year or so. A big it's 182 unit development out in Sumterville, where they're basically doing workforce housing for the people that work in the villages, so a little bit more affordable.
Yep.
Because villages can be pretty expensive, and a lot of that stuff is 55 and older. So getting it more of a kind of a younger community feel for those people that work there, and not too far of a drive for them, is kind of the plan on that. So hopefully we'll have more stuff rolling out about that in the next coming months. So yeah, that's pretty
exciting.
Yeah.
Man. So is your responsibility in that project to essentially list and fill the units?
Yeah. So we for that one, we would have a couple model homes there, and then again with my team now, we would have people there that can sit in the models, kind of like you would see at any big builder on a daily basis, and then they take buyers as it comes. But yeah, marketing all of that and listing all of that, and then. And then obviously with Aubrey doing the transaction coordination, they kind of have a person that makes sure all the paperwork and contracts are in order. So that's been nice.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I want to pop back to the Loose Moose.
Yeah.
Man. Where did that start? And tell us what is the Loose Moose?
So a buddy of mine, my buddy Ryan Patton and I, we actually had the same birthday. He's much older, not much older. Sorry, Ryan. He's older than me. And we met. It was his senior year in college. I think my freshman year in college, or he might have actually just got out of college. And met on a spring break through mutual friends, and we realized we had the same birthday. So from that point on, him and I would, like, every year we would just somehow,
Dude.
We definitely would call each other, and we had a long thing running. And then one year, would it be 5 years ago now, we decided let's get together for our birthdays and have a golf tournament.
Okay.
And the first one was kind of just invite anybody. We did it out at Stream Song, and we had, I don't even know, 40, 50 people that came out to that.
First one.
Yeah. So, and then from that, we had that was just a one-day event. From that one, we're like, well, let's make it more of a, now that all of us are getting older, some people, you don't have the bachelor parties or weddings, and, people are married. Let's get the guys together. Yep. So the next one we did at Mission Inn, and we did it like a two-person team, and then we kind of, it was a competition between just each individual twosome. And then now we've elected to, it's more of we do it like Ryder Cup style. So I have 10 people on my team, he has 10 people on his team, and it's team versus team.
Yep.
So we did the Ozarks in Missouri, and then last year we did, where did we go last year?
Did you have Mississippi?
No.
That was the year before that?
Yeah, we did Ozarks, and then I'm mind blank.
Well, if you come back to it, but so it's been 5 years strong.
Yep, and this year, and then this year we're going to Scottsdale.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what courses you playing out in Scottsdale? Do you know
We're
yet?
Playing Troon. We are playing TPC Stadium course, which is going to be cool, and then the other one I'm not sure of.
So is the stadium course the one where the par 3, where they fill it out?
Interested to see. I've been there, so I did my bachelor party in Scottsdale. So I'm
Okay.
interested to see what it looks like without all the stadium around it.
Yeah.
I've heard it's not as.
Yeah, it's like a par 3.
Yeah, it's just a par 3.
It's like there's no water and no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. That is true, though. That was my experience, too. Like, getting out of college, you'd have everyone that, not everyone, but most people ended up in my network getting married or having bachelor parties. And you just, like, almost to a point where it was annoying. Like, oh, my gosh, like, I can't afford this, number one. Number two, I'm tired of drinking, so I don't want to go to another event that's going to be all weekend.
Right.
But then it gets to a point where when that stops, you do have to find intentional ways to stay in touch with people, which, again, I think is a little bit of your superpower, like from afar, to say like stuff like that you and Ryan put together is just a great way. And it seems like a lot of people latched on to us. And I know one of our key team members, I wasn't there, but from a connector standpoint, buddy of yours from college, Chris Delbridge. And
yes, so he actually good friends with my friend Garrett, and he was his partner. And we were sitting out hey, you're invited, get a partner. And I didn't really know much. I knew of Chris, kind of friends of friends, and then randomly he got invited to that, and then Brett and Matt hit it off with him, and you guys are just running strong now.
Bunch of insurance agents got together on a golf course, and the next thing you know, we're working together a couple years later. So, no, that's awesome. So, real estate wise, man, like, it's funny because every industry seems like they're faced with the commoditization of their product and the online Zillow versus the realtor, and you know, in our business, it's no different with InsurTech versus direct versus the agent model. It's almost like a dance that, in my opinion, you just kind of accept and you kind of navigate, rather than maybe completely fight or completely go the other way. How's that been in your business over the last 7 years, to where these big tech companies, or, you know, whatever it may be, you've seen some come and go.
Right.
As far as you as a realtor and a professional, what's some of the value that, just talk about that a little bit, and talk about, you know.
I mean, it's ever changing. I mean, it's like you're saying, your industry too. I mean, you know, Zillow is scary, I'd say. I mean, it's what almost every consumer that's buying a house looks at first.
Right.
So I do have, you know, I spend time and money with them to try and, you know, gain those leads that people are on there. But, you know, it's just the unknown of what their end goal is it's definitely kind of scary. And you see things, you know, they're buying different products inside the real estate market, and, you know, sounds like they're starting their own brokerages and stuff. So the unknowing of where they're going is definitely an uneasy feeling. But I think that at the end of the day, real estate is still a face-to-face thing. I mean, I don't think it's going to go straight to internet-based. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it is for the most part. I mean, if you know, open houses actually, which is bizarre, since COVID, I think open houses are becoming more useful again. But, you know, before last year, we didn't really hold many open houses.
Just use online.
Well, I think that when people drove up to a house and saw there's an open house, they would pull it up on their phone first, because, I mean, the photos and everything now are so good. You can almost tell. I mean, we've sold a bunch of houses, you know, sight unseen, because people can do virtual walkthroughs and pretty much see the house for themselves from their phone. But I don't know what has clicked recently, but you know, open houses are definitely becoming more useful for our market right now. I mean, the technology aspect of real estate has definitely changed in 7 years. I mean, like same thing with you guys. Social media and everything is a huge target market. You're able to really, you know, pick and choose and to who you're sending your stuff to. I think that real estate is definitely a big, you know, sphere of influence first, you know, and sending all your stuff out. If you sell your friend's house, their friends see it, you know, I mean, it's definitely, if one of their friends putting their trust in you to sell them a house or sell their house, it kind of reciprocates pretty well.
And you've done a good job on social, and it's amazing, because our goal as salespeople, or whatever it may be, you want to stay top of mind, right? So when there's a need, if somebody's considering listing or buying a house, that you're top of mind enough and they think enough of you that they pick up the phone and call you, right? And a part of that is a tool and social tool, like, hey, look, this is what I got going on. Here's what I just listed. Here's what I just sold. And it's amazing how that activity, I'm sure you have to work at it like anybody else to put the content out there and stuff like that, but how it does drive that trust throughout a sphere of influence.
Right, absolutely.
You know?
And it's definitely, I mean, and it's that teeter of being overly annoying, and
dude,
then
we're probably both annoying to somebody
out there is like, I'm definitely got some unfollows. But, but again, I mean, I think that if you keep it kind of creative enough to not where it's, you know, just, I mean, every single day the same thing, which is hard. I mean, the same thing for you guys. It's hard to like keep on coming up with different ideas or different things to put out there, but it definitely helps. I mean, people like to see that. I mean, if you're
that you're doing business,
you know, and actually, my old boss Steve. I mean, one of his like famous quotes was, you know, you can't be a secret agent. Yeah, you got to be a real estate agent. Can't be a secret agent. Everybody's got to know. I mean, if you don't tell people you're doing real estate, how are they going to know? Yeah. So definitely, I've definitely taken that one to heart, and it's true. I mean, I mean, it's not like, I mean, real estate, you know, people don't really use billboards. It's all internet based now for the most part. So
I use the verbiage full-time agent. So I think the same thing. Like, look, commit, do it. You know, be a professional. Yeah, put yourself out there. So what do you find in this market or any other market is just the value that you bring as an advocate is maybe in my mind 20 years ago, a realtor drives around and shows a ton of houses, and a lot of the value is, you know, access to the houses, showing. and I'm probably completely wrong in this, but I do see a ton of value in the realtor professionals that we work with, is just to say, man, that negotiation part, especially in a market that inventory is very low and you're going to have multiple offers, and especially on the buying side,
right.
is what are maybe some tactics or your thoughts on kind of where your true value as a professional is, that if somebody's considered of buying or listing a home, why it matters who they use?
I mean, there's a ton of things, and it goes outside of just the real estate transaction. I think itself, it's when you come and you're buying a house with me, not only are you getting my knowledge and like you're saying, negotiation tactics and everything like that, but when you come to me and you buy a house, it's one-stop shop. Like, I have your insurance ready to go. I have your loan. I have somebody that's going to take care of that. I have inspectors. I mean, there's so many aspects that I think that a lot of people don't realize, that there's a lot of moving parts that to get a transaction done, that you're going to have an order, and it's a stressful process.
Yep.
And if you have 5-6 people that are all specialists at their job taking care of that, it makes it much more a smoother transaction. I mean, it's and like you're saying right now with this market, and especially on the buy side, it's definitely discouraging for these people. They're going out. I mean, if you're in that pretty much under 400,000 range right now, it's a grind, because there's 10 other people that are interested in that house too, and it's getting a buyer to commit to going above asking.
Sure.
They.
Because everyone wants a deal.
Everybody wants a deal, and there are no deals right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you're in some magical area where we are in Central Florida, and we look for fun all the time, my wife and I, and we're like, look, if you're looking for a deal, like, this isn't the market. You can find value
with the interest rates and everything too. I still think it's a great time to buy. I mean, interest rates are still just insanely low. I mean, yes, prices are high right now, but again, I mean, compared to paying a bunch more money in interest, compared to paying a mortgage.
Compared to what? Right. Exactly. Like, that's how I always look at that from a real estate perspective too.
Yeah.
Whether it's affordability or what's your other option. If the option is rent versus buy, or that's interesting, because that's a very good point. Is like, there's not a deal compared to what? Like, what are your other options?
Right.
And that's probably personal to everyone's situation.
Absolutely.
But that's very interesting. And another thing you mentioned that I like talking about too is people talk about, like, oh, it's important to have a relationship,
right?
Whether it be with your insurance agent, realtor, mortgage professional, whatever it is. And I look at what you just said, that inherently it's a stressful process, but you have 5-6 people that are working as specialists on your behalf that potentially all have relationships with each other.
Right.
So when there are challenges, problems, because there will be, right?
Absolutely.
Closing on a home, there's something that always comes up.
Yep.
Whether it's a water heater on the insurance side that you have to replace that you didn't think about, or it's something with,
appraisal or
your appraisals or your taxes, and it's brought to whatever it is. So that relationship can be used as a tactic and a strategy to get a better result, rather than just more of a feel-good thing. And I think that's something that you have a lot going for you, just because you have really strong relationships.
Yeah, and going back to the mainframe side of it too, man, they kind of, their niches, they take on basically seasoned agents, and the team aspect of the entire company has been pretty impressive to see. I send out, hey, I need a septic inspector in Bushnell, Florida.
Yeah.
And 6 or 7 of them, like, here's Tom here. Like, it's just, they're all working together. I mean, even though it's not their deal.
Is it always a Tom?
Maybe Bob. Actually,
Bob.
If it's septics, it's Bob, for sure. But yeah, it's just, it's cool seeing that them, everybody working together, people, in the email thread saying, hey, I have a buyer looking in this area. Just let me know if you have something coming up, kind of maybe eliminating that whole multiple offer situation. I have a buyer looking in your area that you're about to list in. Send that to me first before you put it on the market, and we'll get it done so everybody's happy, and we don't have to go through that whole process with a bunch of different buyers and showings and everything.
It's powerful, man. Well, I appreciate you sitting it down with
absolutely,
me.
man.
You have a great team. We're thrilled to work with you and continue to work with you, and you have a great brokerage and leadership over there. So, I mean, is there anything that you want to encourage us with, anything you're doing right now that is top of mind, as far as whether it's in your personal, professional life, that you're working at this year that we can borrow from? Or
Not really. I mean, just, yeah, I mean, obviously you guys have been great with, I mean, anybody I send for insurance-wise, but yeah, I think that it's been a crazy start to 2021, and I think hopefully everybody's getting back to more of a normal state, which is nice to see. It was definitely a weird year for everybody, probably insurance-wise and real estate-wise.
And we live in Florida.
I know.
Imagine what it's like in other states right now.
I mean, we're definitely seeing a lot of the northern states moving down here. So it's interesting to see, and I think that this year is going to be a good year for everybody, hopefully. So
yeah, well, and I applaud you too on building your team.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a different muscle that continues to be a different muscle for us, and me included, is that there's something about being a professional when it's you or you're on a team, but then to invest in others and build a team takes a different level of skill set and intention, and it sounds like you're off to a great start, man.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate
you joining.
Thanks.
Yeah.